May 26th. I will call this meeting of the Miami Township, Montgomery County Board of Trustees to order. If everyone could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Culp.
Here.
Mr. Posey.
Here.
Mr. Posey, you have military casualties. You need to unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have one military casualty to report today. Army Sergeant Christopher Wesley Curry, participating in Operation Inherent Resolve, passed on May 4th, 2020. He was 23 years old from Terre Haute, Indiana, and was assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 21st Infantry Regiment, 1st Stryker Brigade Combat Team, 20 Infantry Division.
Thank you, sir. Chief Stegelmeyer.
Good evening. The following is a first responder casualty list for the period of May 8th through May 24th, 2020. Corrections Officer Jesse Wayne Bolton, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Texas. End of watch May 8th, 2020. Corrections Supervisor 1 George Robert, Kansas Department of Corrections, Kansas. End of watch May 11th, 2020. Sergeant Charles Roberts III, Glen Ridge Police Department, New Jersey. End of watch May 11th, 2020. Corrections Supervisor 1 Fella Adebi, Kansas Department of Corrections, Kansas. End of watch May 12th, 2020. Officer Ching Kok Yang, United States Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection. End of watch May 6th, 2020. Correctional Officer Anthony Morris, Washington State Department of Corrections, Washington. End of watch May 17th, 2020. Deputy Sheriff Wyatt Masser, Bonneville County Sheriff's Office, Idaho. End of watch May 18th, 2020. And Trooper George Baker, Louisiana State Police, Louisiana. End of watch May 24th, 2020.
Thank you. Everyone could please join me in observing. Thank you. I'd like to welcome all of those who are watching online, this live Zoom call or a taped version of it. If you a public comment during the public comment period, there is a mechanism where which you can raise your hand. Mr. Henkelman will recognize that and put you in the queue. And then during the public comment period, we will allow the phone to be opened and you can make comments to the Board of Trustees for up to 3 minutes. With that, I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris.
I said aye.
Okay. Mr. Culp.
Aye. And by the way, John, we're having some cutout on the audio.
Okay. Well, hopefully it gets better.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
We have a work session to discuss healthcare.
I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to go into work session at 6:04.
I'll second.
Mr.
Any
Morris.
discussion? Aye.
Mr. Culp.
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
Kyle, if you could admit Kim Collier from McGowan to join us for this session. Will we she'll have, she has a presentation planned for this evening that I want to open up a little bit, just to kind of introduce it. Since February, we've been working with our partners at McGowan to look at renewals for this year on healthcare. And part of that, in the middle of all of that, we had a global pandemic breakout, which, as you can imagine, slightly influenced some of the initial responses we got back from the carriers. So we've been working with them and trying to get those bids down. And so we come to you tonight with a proposal for what essentially a 5%, it is a 5% increase without changing any of the current structure or format of our coverages, with the exception of dental making a provider change on that. But we've engineered this to kind of minimize the impact to the employees at this point, just given all the other uncertainties that are going on. And it does come in, as I explained in the cover memo that I put in the reading materials for you all for preparation for tonight. It brings about $138,000 in savings against what we'd originally budgeted. So that helps tighten that that revenue shortfall that we've been working on since the shutdown began. With that, tonight we're just going to be talking through the options, give you a high-level overview. There's a printed product from McGowan that has all of the bids, all of the detail, all of the work that we've been working through with them and with the providers as far as what's available. It's quite extensive, quite detailed. We put together the summary and highlighted the changes that were coming in as a part of this proposal and put that in the reading materials, but that will supplement everything that is in the packets in your mailboxes if you haven't already picked them up. And with that, to kind of add a little more meat to that sparse skeleton that I gave you guys, I'd like to introduce Kim Collier, our account rep with McGowan, who has been working with us and with the multiple providers to bring us a product tonight that we can put up for your consideration, and we hope we'll see if we can get it, answer any questions you may have tonight or in the next few days. Kim? Kim, I think you're still on mute.
There it finally popped up. I couldn't unmute for a little bit. So can everyone hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little faint, but we can hear you.
Okay, let me see if I can get my speaker up. Either that or I will just talk a little more boldly. Can you see my screen? Cannot see the presentation screen. All right, bear with me for just a moment. I'm going to see if that does it. No, it isn't.
In the middle of your area at the bottom, there's a green button that says share screen.
Got it.
And then you should be able to, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, it's telling me the, oh, there we go. Are you seeing the Board of Trustees meeting Miami Township from my screen now?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you for guiding me through. It was just acting a little weird. So thank you for having me this evening, and thank you, Clay, for giving all of the information and a lot of that detail prior to us walking through this. A lot of the steps that we've already taken, Clay touched on, but I would like to just start walking through the high-level overview. Please stop me, ask questions. This is the benefit plan for Miami Township, and of course, one that's available to all of you as well. So, one of the first things that we tried to just take a look at was, what benefits are typically renewing in July Several are currently renewing in November. So this is just very simply the schedule of what's renewing in July, what's renewing in November. And then to the far right is when we were expecting each one of the carriers to provide the renewal information. On the next screen, an important piece, because over the past 5 years, we have been very successful in negotiating your medical renewal. We did make a carrier change back in July of 15 to start some of the savings snowball that occurred. But since 2015, through utilizing the form fire system where we ask employees to provide updated information, we've used that. We have negotiated, we have leveraged with Anthem, and as you can see, over the past 5 years, the final renewal for the medical plan has been very, very reasonable. 2 of the years with reductions to premium, only 1 year that was more than a fraction of a percent. We did complete the formal market analysis this year, and in that process, employees are asked to update form fire. We then gather the form fire information as well as information from Anthem, and then we share a request with alternate carriers to determine financially and from a benefit perspective what is the best option for the township. So on this slide, this is a recap of the carriers that we solicited for a proposal, and it is just showing in a snapshot format what those proposals looked like. The original renewal from Anthem was at 19.5%. Through negotiations with them, and if we combine our dental with Anthem, then we can bring the final renewal number down to the even 5% increase. We did look at some additional options. We looked at the Anthem ERC, which is a combined resource council. That was much higher at a 16% proposed increase. Custom design benefits, that is a self-insured option and opportunity located in Cincinnati, Ohio. They just felt that this year wasn't a good fit, so they decided not to provide a proposal. Medical Mutual was very aggressive and is one of the main reasons that we were able to leverage so much with Anthem, but Medical Mutual did offer a very, very competitive proposal. United Healthcare, they provided a proposal, and the Ohio Benefits Cooperative in this year, they just felt they could not compete with Anthem or the other options that were out there. Questions on that piece? I know, again, high-level overview, and but if there's anything immediate, I want to make sure I address it. I'll keep wandering through just some additional detail on the Anthem renewal. Again, the initial renewal was proposed at 19.5. Anthem made a first revision to 9.9. Again, we received competitive data, went back to Anthem a third time, and that is when they offered us the 5% renewal. That 5% renewal is including including your current Dayton Chamber membership, and that 5% renewal includes a 2% premium discount for transitioning the dental to Anthem as well.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Why wasn't the 1% medical premium discount for the Dayton Chamber membership included earlier?
It was. So you've been.
So you're just summarizing what the discounts are here, even though they were involved in the earlier quotes?
Yes. Yes, I'm just breaking out the detail of some of the additional discounts or discounts that were already provided, such as the Dayton Chamber membership, to bring us to the 5.
Okay, and since we're talking about the discounts and the dental, is the dental the same exact plan that we currently have with SDC, or?
The benefit shall, it.
I didn't see any details on the dental in the package you provided.
Yeah, there, and I can share the additional dental spreadsheet. If you didn't receive that, I apologize. The dental.
Yeah, I overlooked it, but I didn't see it.
It's okay. The dental, yes, it is the benefit shell itself of meaning what percentage of responsibility is the employees, what type of coverage, whether it's major or basic or things of that nature. Those are similar. Those are the same. There are some behind the scene differences. First one being that your current Superior Dental plan has an annual maximum that runs from July to June. Anthem does run from a January through a December period. So that is a little bit different.
I like that, but I'd like to also know, how are we going to align those? Do you prorate it for 1 month or whatever where you're out of sync, or?
The renewal, the dental renewal would actually be moved from November to July. So all of your renewals would marry up to July.
Okay, so we would just drop the dental that we currently have in July?
That is correct.
And there's no penalty for that?
I have a letter to cancel our our policy with Superior on my desk if this is approved tonight.
Yes.
And there's no penalty for that? You just cancel it at any time?
That is correct. The carriers will accept a contract termination as long as we are giving them, they request a 30-day notice, they will accept a notice slightly less than the 30 days, but they will allow us to terminate that contract prior to November. And there are no penalties for doing that.
I'm sorry, what was that last statement?
There are no penalties.
Okay.
There are no early termination penalties whatsoever. So, but with the dental, the renewal would align to July, but the annual maximum, so the annual benefit, the $1,000 that the carrier will pay on your behalf, that is managed on the calendar year instead of policy year.
Okay. At some point, I'd like to take a detailed look at what the dental plan is compared to other options. I mean, I'm not talking other carriers, but other options as far as dental plans go. Would have liked to have been in conversation if we were going to go down this road with McGowan Brabender at the moment, rather than just blindly switching. But anyway, at some point we need to sit down and look at these policies.
Yeah, and I can, I'm sorry, since this is up and I do not see who's talking, but I do have the benefit.
So it's Trustee Don Culp.
Thank you. I can share the benefit comparative with you, Mr. Culp, and then answer any additional questions, but
Okay, sure. I'd like to reach out to you and talk about that.
absolutely, thank you. On the next page that we have here, again, some additional information for medical. I wanted to share some additional detail of the medical mutual option. Medical mutual is slightly lower in annual premium than the Anthem final proposal. However, there's some differences in the medical mutual plan that would potentially harm employees in the long run. One of the major piece to that is that your renewal would continue to be July. However, medical mutual can only manage a calendar year deductible. So employees that have met their deductible in 2020, then it would be potentially a benefit for them. But anyone who met all of or part of their deductible in 2019, they would essentially be paying a double deductible by moving to medical mutual. So even though their proposal was at the 3.9% of premium increase, there is a expanded risk, there is a expanded exposure financially to the employees and the participants of the medical plan.
So what is the deductible calendar for the Anthem proposal?
So the Anthem proposal is still proposing the July renewal, and it is still proposing the plan year deductible. So the deductible begins July 1 and ends June 30th.
Okay. But we're bringing the dental in line with that, right?
We're bringing the dental in for a July renewal. The dental, the annual maximum for the dental will be managed on the calendar year. That's the difference between Superior Dental Care and Anthem.
Okay, so the medical is going to still be July to June as far as the deductible, meeting the deductible?
Correct.
Okay, so here's my problem with the way our benefits are set up. And it may have been a long time in making, but I think it's very confusing for the employee. We have different registration times for different plans, and a different deductible calendar for dental, for medical. There may be others. And I've mentioned this for a very long time, that we should be setting a goal to align these calendar years. And we should be having that conversation with the insurance providers. And we should make it happen. I mean, if it costs us $5 more, then it costs us $5 more. But we need to figure out a path where we're registering for all of our benefits at the same time, and they're on the same calendar year. And it should be a priority. I don't think this is something that every year we should just, walk on by. Because I think it's confusing for families. It's confusing for some of the people who are insured with the township to to be managing these different calendars. And you know, it's going to be a little bit better if you have maybe a little bit better if you have the same provider. But I believe it's confusing.
And hear you loud and clear, and that is one of the items that is within this proposal for July 1, is that the dental, the life, the voluntary life, that was one thing that we worked on kind of behind the scenes, was to align all of the renewal dates to July. We can look in the future at transitioning from a July date. The constraint is with the medical. The medical plan can, they can offer a 15-month rate guarantee, but that's the extent that they can offer. And when they offer that 15-month rate guarantee, they charge additional premium for it. So if we ever wanted to be at a January, where everything's January or everything's October, we would accomplish that by taking a couple of steps, or taking a step every year until we are able to realign.
So I think we need to do that, and that's why I brought this up 3 years ago. So my priority here is, first of all, to get them aligned, or get them moving towards alignment.
Yep.
Secondly, it's not as important, but it's still much more convenient to have them focus on a true calendar year, because I deal in 2 calendars every day, the fiscal year and the calendar year, and I know how confusing it can be. So if I deal with it all the time and I know it's confusing, I know how confusing it can be for someone else.
Sure.
So anyway, we should set out some kind of plan. You should give us an option, define an option for us to move towards those 2 goals.
And again, absolutely. I mean, if that is the decision, and we want to move forward in that way, we can absolutely take those steps. It just is a process that does involve a couple of years. And I'm speaking specifically with Anthem because that's who we are with now as the medical carrier. But each time that we accept a 15-month rate guarantee, they are going to charge additional premium for that.
Hey, Don, after today's proposal, the only thing that's not aligned is going to be the life insurance.
The life insurance will be aligned this year in July.
And so what would not be aligned after today?
They
If
would-
dental is, I mean,
They would
other
all
than
line
that,
up.
They will
Yeah,
all
dental
line up.
being
All of the renewals will be aligned to July.
So we'll have one registration period now.
Correct.
Those coverages will begin at the time that we sever the contracts, or in the contracts with the providers if it's approved. And then we will have an annual renewal period. Right now it's for July, the July 1 renewal date. But the information we've gathered out of this over the last couple of months, and we've been working on over time, is we've got a lot of good information to sit down now and go the next step, which is to look, where do we want to go with this and structure our benefits in the future to either, will we have the capacity to do a renewal on January 1st? Up until now, it's been more of a manpower issue. It's just simply not, we don't have enough horses to get all of that done and get all of the financial records and the accounting year flipped over at year end. So we've tailored it. We did take on, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe back when the Affordable Care Act first was looming out there, the township tried to take some steps, or took some steps to move towards moving that renewal date out. And we had at one point a 15-year contract. And then based on information we got from the employees, that was proving less popular, and they wanted to go back to the July, June.
That is correct. In 2015, when we transitioned to United Healthcare, that was one of the offerings, was a 15-month rate guarantee.
Okay.
So we would have been aligning to it in October, but you are correct. In that very next year, enough employees came to the administration of the township that we actually performed an early renewal and moved back to a July renewal with the medical plan.
So I don't know the history of that, and I don't trust the history of that, to be quite frank. But I think we're talking about two different calendars here, right? We're talking about the renewal calendar. We're talking about the deductible calendars. And I don't believe the deductible calendars are meeting up unless I understood something incorrectly.
So the renewal calendar, everything at this renewal is aligning to July. So that would mean the open enrollment period will incorporate all benefit offerings of the township.
Okay.
The medical, the deductible period is also aligned to the July timeframe. So everything will be aligned to July renewal as of this year, 2020.
Okay, including the dental.
Including the dental, yes.
Okay, for some reason I thought I was understanding that there was still a different deductible calendar in one of these. But you're saying that's not true.
Yeah, we are aligning everything to the
Okay,
children.
good.
Correct.
Good. Yeah, the January to December thing is not as important, but having them come in at different times is very important, I think.
Yeah, and the more we automate this, the more we get it, we take more control over it. I think it'll clear up some of the misunderstandings that are going on, and we need to find out where those items are and educate better too, and look for better solutions. So we're taking a lot of this, we'll take all of this back with us as well as we go into, I want to start planning next year, probably in another month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're also looking at, and as Clay already said, some different funding options and things of that nature. So the other option that was offered by Medical Mutual was a partially self-funded option. From a premium perspective, it offers additional reduction to the premium. However, there's exposure out there that we would be taking the risk for. And at this point, and because budgeting for this could be a little bit of a challenge, but there is some additional exposure. And again, we can look at the numbers as we look at those comparatives, those financial comparatives. But I wanted to just point out that the partially self-funded option with Medical Mutual was considered as well. Last but not least, the United Healthcare option was again under the renewal of Anthem. However, with leveraging and negotiating with Anthem, the final result of Anthem ended up being the more beneficial than the 8.72 proposed by United Healthcare. And with United Healthcare, there were going to be quite a few plan differences to the employees, including increased out-of-pocket maximums and some of the changes in plans going from non-embedded to embedded. So a lot of changes under that United Healthcare plan. For dental, again, I have the full detail behind this market review, but the current vendor, the current carrier that we have for dental is Superior Dental Care. They did offer a no increase option. Emeritus is a vendor that is out there. They offered a $600 reduction to premium per year, but the one that appears to make the most sense is the Anthem option. The rates for the Anthem option remain the same, so there's no increase nor is there a decrease. However, by transitioning to the Anthem Dental, we have been given a 2% medical premium reduction. So that's how, one of the reasons that we're coming to that 5% with Anthem Medical. And then from the Anthem Dental perspective, it is also allowing a 2-year rate guarantee. I realize that, you know, these are lower annual amounts than when we're talking about with medical, but having a rate guarantee on any of the benefits is kind of nice. Dental Care Plus did not provide a proposal this year. United Healthcare did, but it's not one that we're just seriously considering. We were looking at the Anthem to receive that additional premium discount. Some of the details, which we have talked through these somewhat. The Superior Dental, again, that renews in November, but the Anthem Dental would be a July 1. So it would bring our renewal to the July 1. Some of the pieces that we've already talked about: 2-year rate guarantee, medical premium reduction, already noted. We talked about the benefit maximum would transition to calendar year, but there is the option of policy year with Anthem, so we can make that piece happen as well. Our ancillary, our carrier today is Standard. They originally were proposing an increase of just over $700 per year. We requested proposals, and as you can see, if you look at the lower section, Unum was proposing an option that was lower in an increase. Standard reviewed that. They came back and they agreed to a no rate change. They also agreed to aligning the benefits to the July timeframe. That way everything is on the same schedule. Details of what I just spoke of. And that is what I have in the presentation. I do have the spreadsheets. I'm not sure that you want me to go into the spreadsheets at this point, or is the overview sufficient to sum up the recommendations being presented to the trustees this evening?
I don't want to go into it right now. Are we voting on this, Ron, tonight?
So we have a resolution for that and also for the HSA.
Okay. We have to vote on it tonight, or can this be put off for 1-2 week period while we look at this?
I'll defer that to Clay.
We would need a decision by the next meeting. This packet contained, and there was a delay on our part in getting the details out. That went out this morning, actually, all of the spreadsheets. In the reading material that went out, the 2 pages that had the red changes highlighted, that was highlighting the details that were changing between the existing coverage and the proposals from the other carriers that were being considered. So we do now have the full text of all of that, the full PDF. That was the 5-part PDF that went out this morning, as well as hard copies for each of the trustees and fiscal officer for their review, and their paper-based, basically. So yeah, I believe we could, it would be tight, but we could get a proposal, or the renewal information out to the employees and back, and get it back into Anthem for, to meet the deadlines.
I'd like to look at the detail a little bit more, if that's okay. Probably talk to McGowan and Braybender about any questions I have. But I don't want to beat this dead horse, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So on the medical, essentially our annual benefit maximum will be July to June. And on the dental, it's going to be on the calendar year. Is that correct?
The deductible period of the medical will be, you are correct, it will be July to June. What Anthem originally provided on the maximum for the dental was calendar year, but we can very easily align the maximum to July to June as well, so that everything matches and everything is on the July timeframe.
So I think that's what we need to do as a minimum if we're not going to stress ourselves with moving it to January, and I'm okay with that. We at least need to have them all aligned.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
I will make a motion to end the work session at 6:43.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey,
Aye.
Mr. Hess, you have 3 resolutions.
Yes, sir. I have number 39, 40, and 41. We'll start with number 39. 39, 2020 is to amend Resolution 25, 2020. In particular, the job description and pay scale for the administrative assistant to township administrator. This was tabled from a couple meetings ago. Additional memo was requested, which was attached to this. Number 40-2020 is to reappoint Mr. Culp as a representative to the Hillgrove Union Cemetery Board, which is a 3-year term. And then number 41-2020 is to convey approximately 2 acres of township-owned property, Miami Township Community Improvement Corp., to facilitate a transfer of the parcel to Renegade Warehouse as an economic development project, as in via resolution 104-2018, and then it's something we spoke last time at the work session.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Hess on the 3 resolutions being proposed? Hearing none. Mr. McCord, you have resolutions 42 and 43.
Yes, sir. 42 is for the authorization for the township administrator to execute a contract for the renewal of healthcare for the upcoming plan year. And resolution 43 is to authorize the funding, the employer funding of the health savings account contributions to the employees in the amount that was originally budgeted, based on the savings that we're generating off of the renewal, and some other efforts that Ron and I are working on with the budget itself. We feel like that's attainable, and given some of the feedback at the recent meetings, we're doing what we can to avoid any negative impacts to the employees at this point.
Any questions for Mr. McCord on resolutions 42 and 43? All right, hearing none, we will move into the public comment period. Mr. Hinkleman, has anyone raised their hand?
I am looking and I do not see anyone raising their hand.
All right, just a reminder, if anyone wishes to address the Board of Trustees, you're within Zoom to raise your hand and you will be recognized. Hearing none, I will close the public comment period and enter into consideration vote of resolutions and motions. Is there any action on resolution 39?
So do you want someone to read the resolution?
Well, someone needs to make a motion to approve the resolution if that's what we are intending to do.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 39, 2020. Resolution to amend resolution 25, 2020. Whereas previously passed on March 10, 2020 was resolution 25, 2020, which reclassified the remaining position administrative assistant 3 with the new position descriptions and pay scales. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees hereby amends resolution 25, 2020, returns the affected employee to the previous job description and pay scale of administrative assistant 3. This change will be effective June 7th, 2020.
Is there a second on the motion to approve resolution 39-2020?
I'll second.
Discussion. I would note
Mr. Moore?
that,
Oh, sorry.
no, yeah, I would like to make a comment that I had read the original resolution 2520. To me, it clearly stated that the administrative assistant 3 position was not one that was going to be utilized. We only had 2 individuals at that classification, and it made sense to me that we would eliminate that classification. Well, I want to make sure we understand that by moving this position back to the administrative assistant 3 position, what we are effectively doing is rescinding the new classification and as well as the new job duties that went with the assistant administrative position. So I recognize the salary increases that went ahead with it, but I think the additional duties that were added make it justified to hold and leave in place. So any other thoughts on this resolution? If not, Mr. Newell, you can take the roll.
Mr. Morris?
No.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
No.
All right, I will make a motion to approve resolution 0/2020, a resolution to appoint township representative to the Hillgrove Union Cemetery Board of Trustees. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees appoints Donald R. Culp to serve at the Hillgrove Union Cemetery Board of Trustees for the unexpired term ending May 31, 2020, and reappointment to the position of a term of 3 years ending May 31, 2023. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
I'll abstain.
And Mr. Posey?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 041-2020, a resolution to authorize the township administrator to execute a real estate purchase agreement. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees, sections 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second.
Mr. Posey was a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Morris,
I'm going to abstain, given that I sit on the CIC board.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
There was some discussion earlier on whether we wanted to table Resolution 2. I'm comfortable making a motion to approve Resolution 42. I think I have enough information that I'm comfortable entering into a resolution to enter into a contract for health insurance. So I will make a motion to approve Resolution 042-2020. Therefore, be it resolved, Miami Township Board of Trustees accepts the healthcare insurance recommendation. Be it further resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes the Township Administrator to contract with Anthem to institute the for the 2020-2021 plan year, July 1, 2020 through June 30, 2021. Is there a second?
Yeah, but with the amendment that we're going to align that deductible period. Is that what we decided to do?
Yeah, I think we can, John, Don, I think we can do that under the language of this resolution. But the administrator is authorized only in this resolution authorizes the administrator to enter into the contract, and it doesn't contain that specification in the resolution. So I think we can do that through this.
Yeah, I think so too.
So just to clarify, Mr. Culp was the second on that motion. It kind of cut out.
Right, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 043-2020, a resolution to authorize the funding of employer health savings account contributions. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees has considered and supports the funding of HSA contributions as outlined above and directs the Finance Department to proceed as necessary to ensure the HSA contributions are addressed appropriately. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris,
Aye.
Mr. Culp,
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
We have no public hearings. Any department head comments, Mr. Hess?
I'd just like to make the comment that starting with the July 7th meeting, we will be changing our meeting dates from the second and fourth Tuesdays to the first and third Tuesdays. We'll publicize this on social media starting immediately, make sure that no one's left behind, and we will send reminders out.
Chief Stegelmeyer, has there been any need or any calls with regards to the reopening of local businesses and the enforcement of COVID social distancing rules?
No, sir, not at this time. Actually, the residents and the businesses have been very cooperative, and they've been paying attention to all the rules outlined by the governor, and we have had absolutely no calls. So I can say that the township's doing their part in making sure that the social distancing, as well as all the rules established by the governor, are being followed. And it's been a smooth transition so far.
Excellent. Thank you for that update. Are there any other department heads wishing to make a
John, the zoning commission meetings will also be changing, and we'll send out revised dates for those once we establish a new date.
And there were no zoning meetings scheduled for the month of May?
No.
Either Mr. Culp or Mr. Posey, do you have anything for any of the department heads?
I do not.
Nothing.
All right. Move into elected officials' comments. Mr. Newell.
I have none.
Mr. Culp.
I have none.
Mr. Posey.
I have none.
I'd like to thank the chief for that presentation. That's very good news. I'd like to encourage those who are listening and or watching this on tape delay to continue to do your best in social distancing. While some may feel this is an inconvenience and not necessarily important to them, this is very important to others who may have compromised immune systems, and anything that we can do to just help each other wearing of a mask helps the person that you're interacting with equal or as much as it helps yourself. So even if you're not thinking of yourself, thinking of others. And I'm very excited that that the township residents are taking this to heart, and we'll continue this moving forward. There is no executive session. I will move to adjourn this meeting at 6:55. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Henkelman, for running another Zoom meeting.